Good morning, guys. Let's see if I can get through this without coughing my heart out. My lungs up. So it looks to me like we have a pretty much a holding pattern, kind of an overnight. So if we had a nice move to the upside yesterday, just a little bit of weakness in the pop in the morning, then kind of weakness in the afternoon going into the close, and a little bit of strength at the very end. So we didn't end up with a sell-off as I was concerned about. It's looked like that for a while, but never kind of materialized. And now we're pretty much sitting in a kind of way in a holding pattern here around the 64.80s. So I think we're pretty much well positioned to take this higher again. We'll see if the weakness from yesterday kind of permeate through today or as well. But we have the same exact levels going into today pretty much. So looking to buy weakness at 64.70. 75 to 78, 64, 65s, 64, 60s for rotations back up. I would say that if it backs below that 64, 60s, we go back range bound and just look for that retracement trade. So pretty much the same dynamic as we had going into yesterday's trading. And yesterday they did extend, so we're still in the move out of the middle to the upside. We're still in a spot where we can extend. So no reason to trade this aggressively from the short side yet. We are, as I said, in the move out of the middle to the upside. We do not need to fade the resistance very aggressively. Yesterday is one of those days which gets you caught when you have a little pop, and then that's most of the days that's grinding lower like that. That's surprising when you're trying to trade it from the long side of the market because you just get caught a couple of times and then you just get burned. So. But that's looking at the bigger picture and then try to work to manage the micro picture. The micro picture gave you a pretty good hint yesterday that it was not going to be, you're not seeing a lot of lift. So uh, there was a way to trade it. But if you got caught a couple of times on the long side, that would not be surprising. I mean, that would have been just per the analysis. Uh, Looking at this right now, though, starting off the same way, looking to buy weakness for rotations back up. Not going to be very aggressive on the short side. On the short, I mean, there's two short opportunities at 89.90s here and in the 6500s. And if you get a nice retest of 6500 and then it starts failing, I would be a little bit more aggressive on the short side. That would be a nice retest failure trade at that point. So that's kind of the way I'm looking at it. All right, so that's the ES to get started. The news this morning, we do have news. We have jobless claims and the PPI number. So inflation at the producer price level and jobless claims at 8:30, and then that's pretty much nothing. So not sure that's going to be a big reaction, but if there's a surprise on the PPI, maybe there will be. We'll see. We're not going to kind of count on a big reaction on the PPI number. Looking at the bonds in the Nasdaq real quick. So bond market to the upside, they're back up here again. So I would say that they're grinding higher. We're down here pretty good after the Friday report, and now you can just see that they're right back up here. They headed lower a little bit. Now they're kind of right back up here again. So we are in a spot where we potentially can take it up here to that's the tractor, short-term attract at 24, and maybe even up to the 17, 16s. So we'll see. They're right there, though. They need to kind of extend past the 116s, and then we'll get more excited about the long side. But I was sort of range bound on the bonds, same as yesterday. They've been pretty darn range bound most of the time. So looking to sell strength 1530 to 16s, 1606s, 1614 15s for rotations back down. And looking to buy 11522s, 1516s, 1505s for rotations back up again. Outside of those levels, you probably have a directional move going on at that point. So that's the bond market. Looking at Nasdaq, Nasdaq is the one which is the big one. These guys said they had a nice pop to the upside, definitely in stage one, extended pretty good from yesterday, and complete reversal. Then they didn't quite go as far on the downside. They just kind of retraced the whole pop and then just kind of stalled here at about the close of Friday. And Friday, but not Friday, um, Tuesday, close of Tuesday. Am I thinking? Yeah, Tuesday. I'm getting my days mixed up here. So this is it was Wednesday's trading. This is Tuesday's trading. So And then they are kind of stalled there. So I have not really taken out the 88, 880. So starting off from the long side again, looking to buy against the 915, 910, 915s and the 880s for rotations back up. I would say below that 880s, I would be a little bit more aggressive on the short side if they start challenging that one, because that implies that we may see a move to the downside. Running the stops below it, not going to worry about that. But if you start seeing a little bit more than that, I would try a short trade at that point. And on the way up, not going to be very aggressive. We are going to move out of the middle to the upside, so looking for shorts against the 950s and the 24,000s. And maybe the 24,050s, but we are in the move out of the middle. So I'm not going to, I think the best ones would be early on here at the 950s, maybe the 24,000s, if they're going to hold. If you see a nice run up here to the 24,060s and then a complete reversal, that would be a nice retest failure setup. And then when they start taking out some of these lows, I would be more aggressive on the short side. But we're going to have to wait for that one to develop before we try to call that kind of a trade out. All right, so that's NASDAQ, both ES and NASDAQ starting off with a slight bias to the upside. Let's see how far they can take it. And then finally, oil and gold. So gold is just kind of stuck. They moved pretty hard on that gold tariff thing, which never happened, and they're right back here to the 3400s. And as you can see on capital flow, there is an attractor building here right at 3400. Below that, 3340s, but this is definitely becoming an area of value. So I would say range band right now, look the fading edges up to the 3420s, down to the 3380s, and below 3380s, look for a short move to the downside. And above 3420s, look for a move to the upside. So pretty tight range on that one. And you can see it pretty much, it's also pretty visible here. You can see how that range has built over time. So looking to buy against these areas, 3390, 84, 78 to 80s. Looking to sell strength against the 3410s, 3415s up to the 3420, 23s for rotations back down again. And then expecting range bound trading here. So that's what we have in store for gold. And then we'll see if something happens. And then finally, oil. It's going to be a couple of days. I haven't checked when the rollover is. I had to go do that. But the oil is going to roll shortly here. And I think they are steady grinding to the downside. They're back. They were down here all the way down to 62, bounced up. So we'll see. Unless they start taking out the 63.70s, I'm going to be staying on the short side of this. So looking to sell strength, 63s, 63.30s up to that 63.70s for rotations back down. Not going to be very aggressive on the buying side of this. Buying the 62.50s, 62.30s, 62s with a lot of caution. If they're going to head lower, you don't want to be stepping in front of it. You're likely to get run over. All right, so that's oil. Starting that off on the short side, at least to get started. And it's in the bigger picture on oil, it's not the straight shot as it never is, but we're heading down to this attractor area. They're on the 61, 62s. It's just taking a while, so they're slowly grinding lower. And of course, we have a big summit coming up on Friday. We'll see if that comes out of that, and that could directly impact the geopolitical situations like gold and oil, and we'll see how that shakes out. Oh. All right, back to the ES. And yeah, so pretty much where we left it. So ES and NASDAQ starting off range bound with a slight bias to the upside. Alrighty, guys. Sorry I'm keeping them short and sweet. Trying to save my voice here a bit. So, but we're good. I'm going to say good trading, and I'll see you back at 11:30 for the next update. Later, guys.